So, I decided to finish up the Brawlers Guild before the end of the Season 1 a few weeks ago, and I have to say the Brawlers Guild was a very interesting addition to the game. The Brawlers Guild is like going against solo raid bosses with all the mechanics you have to watch out for, and was a lot of fun for someone who enjoys raiding as much as I do. The first 7 ranks of the Brawlers Guild are quite frankly pretty easy, once you figure out the gimmick to the fight, and I did all those as holy DPS just to see if I could. And I did. I have videos for all those kills on my channel somewhere. But once you hit rank 8, you go against Hexos, the guy who pretty much ends most players' Brawler Guild runs. Hexos is like a miniature version of Darumu, a boss in Throne of Thunders who has a tricky maze phase. Although, for this fight, the entire thing is done by navigating a maze while pulling optimal DPS. Learning the maze was difficult enough, but after wiping to his enrage timer a few times, I finally decided to finish off the last 2 ranks as Shadow. Once I went Shadow, taking him out was not all that difficult. Once you defeat Hexos, you defeat a few other easy fights until you come to the second boss of rank 9, the stupid snake boss. For the stupid snake boss, you have to kite him continuously around the room because he puts out a little poison trail that, if he ever crosses, will give him a huge enrage buff and he pretty much wipes. He also spits out random spots of poison in addition to his trail. That give this fight a little RNG factor because you have to make sure he doesn't go over these spots as well. So you have to keep him moving almost 90% of the time, and if you don't have great self-heals, you need to stay in his melee range as well because his range attack hits pretty hard. So, if you're a class with pretty decent movement DPS, you'll probably do fine. If you're a priest with terrible movement DPS, then you'll run into the enrage timer a lot like I did. And I hate this fight so much because I think I wiped him like 20 times before getting the kill. Once you take him down, you get a nice easy boss who's just has you move out of his AoE while you DPS him down before you go against the last boss of the Brawlers Guild. The last boss is a pretty well thought out fight, and fitting for the last fight of the Brawlers Guild. It starts off with the Paladin casting his Defined Shield, and you need to have 3 of his adds that spawn during this phase use their charge on the Pally to get rid of his shield. Once you get his shield down, it's a pretty easy fight, just burning him as fast as possible before he enrages. He'll summon Orbs of Light that you need to run out of, because each one gives you a nasty dodge, and you really don't want to eat more than 1 at a time. And you have to interrupt his full heal ability, which will heal him back to 100% of his health if he manages to get it off. The tricky part of this fight is simply breaking his Divine Shield as quickly as possible in the first phase because his enrage timer is pretty tight. And the pathing of the AoE in the room can sometimes kill you as it's kinda random, but in a fair way. Alright, and that's pretty much it. The Brawlers Guild was pretty fun, and requires a lot of skill, or just multiple attempts to complete. Some classes have it a lot easier than others, and as much as I bitch about the snake boss, Shadow Priests have it pretty easy besides that one fight. I'd probably say Warlocks have it the easiest though. For the next season, hopefully they have more fights like the Paladin boss, who just requires tight execution instead of more gimmicky fights like Hexos and the snake boss, where you can die at any point for the dumbest reasons.